Because once AI comes, bro, like once the robots start coming, yo fam, we're done. It's over. There'll be new creatives now. The new creatives are the guys who can craft a really good prompt. That will be the new creative. Can you imagine? That's the kind of person you're fighting with?
Yeah, Beezy boy. Man, you been so lost. Man, you been so gone. Where you been? I miss you, boy. It's how these niggas sound like when it's beneficial to them. When they hit, I give it to you. Small price to keep them moving. Yeah, okay. I don't wanna come around. What you want, I'm not about.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the 30% podcast, episode 155. 100 mia moja hamsini na tano. My name is Sam, as I have been for the past 155 episodes. And Afam is here with me today. Graciously, he graciously gave me some of his time so that we can do this podcast. And yeah. Afam, what's up?
Wrong. It's a fine African man, and I'm doing fine.
Yeah, man. So we do this podcast too. No, go ahead.
First of all, you will not take away from my weekend. This weekend is dedicated to all the Afamefunas out there. Listen, if your name is Afamefuna, this is our time. Nux from the UK finally released his project, A Fine African Man. And in that first track, like, it just comes in with a bunch of it's so scary. It's I don't know why, but when I hear it, it gives me a very
Have you ever have you ever seen a masquerade like live? Like, have you been in the presence of one?
It's not the masquerade. No, I haven't. One, but two, it's not even about the masquerade thing that makes me feel like it's just like hearing somebody say my name like that. It's just very eerie. I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah,
but yeah, man.
But that's what you were describing, because I was trying to figure out because when you told me to watch the video, I was trying to figure out whether it was the masquerades themselves that was freaking you out, but it didn't seem like it wasn't too scary in that sense. So you just
it's
don't
not
like hearing
it's
your
not
name.
the masquerades. It's just hearing people say my name like that, like I'm coming out of a dream, or like it's just so surreal. I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, man, listen, A Fine African Man, you already know the vibes.
Oh, we're still on this.
Yeah. So, but aside aside from that, I'm doing fine.
Oh,
still just been reading my book. I'm almost halfway with Hero of Ages.
How many pages is that? How many pages is it?
Really. Well, I don't know, because I have an ebook, and the ebook is like 1,360 something pages. So yeah, but I don't know what the like actual book is in terms of like pages. I don't know. But yeah, I've been making music, been making a lot of beats.
Wait. I have a question
this week.
Sorry. Had a question. Now that you started reading books, has your social media consumption gone lower, or have you just found some time to sneak in books I'd missed?
What do you mean started reading books, man? I haven't just started reading books.
I feel like you just started again. I feel like it's a new thing.
No, it's not a new thing. It's not a new thing. I just decided to share this on the podcast.
Oh, okay.
But no, I think my social media consumption could be lower still. I think there's still room for improvement. 100%. But yeah, the times when I think what it cuts in actually is the time that I make music, because I don't have that much free time outside of work sometimes, and it's either I'm doing something productive in terms of making music, or I'm not. So it cuts down on my time in terms of making music, because I'll be like, you know what, I just want to like read with my free time. So yeah, I think that's the time that it's replacing.
Oh, all right. Well, time management as an adult, we were not taught how to do that. That's cool though. So it just, apart from that, just been chilling home, just nothing interesting.
Aside from that, just been chilling, making music, making some big strides. Yeah. And how about yourself, man? What you been up to?
This past week has just been relaxed. It has been uneventful. I have been home the whole time. Nothing to report on this side of life. Just home, creating, trying to get things going. Yep. No books. I did decide I want to start reading books too. You inspired me. And I want to start with Alex Ferguson's biography. So I'm going to do that.
Oh, like Sir Alex.
Yep.
Okay. That's an interesting place to start. Wait, why?
No, that's because
why?
That's the only book that's around me. I was like, hey, it's either that or my counseling handbook, and I don't want to read that one first.
I would take this Alex one over that.
Exactly. See, so I'm going to do that. Then I have a whole bunch of like other collections by brilliant.
Do you prefer self-help books or
I can't do self-help books.
Fiction?
No, I can't do self-help books.
Okay.
I just
Thank
can't.
you.
I'll be cringing the whole way and be saying this is never going to work, and how do people fall for this kind of stuff? But to each his own, I guess. I don't want people coming for me saying I'm unsentimental again. So hey.
It's like that meme. What's the meme? There was don't love your job your love.
Like, oh my! I was watching a video over. Every single podcast tries to do that in a specific way. It has to be this, like every sentence has to be some magical quote that we are all supposed to be snapping to, and it's like mind blowing revelation. And they all end up saying absolutely nothing. Nothing.
Anyway. Like the 3 C's. Look at you just shitting on my 3 C's.
You're guilty too. We're doing it now, actually. Oh man, what's going on? What's going on in this lovely industry of ours that we could dissect and give our thoughts and hot takes on?
Sam, that's a great question. That's a great question, because what is going on?
What is going on, bro? Oh man,
you tell me, man.
Been a slow week.
Let me tell you guys. Anyway,
no.
Here's one thing.
We're always on top of things.
Here's one thing.
We have to. It's called impression. In psychology, it's called impression management. We're always on top of things, and we're never shaken by anything. Always.
But if
we weren't,
so here's the thing.
Oh,
yeah, in a world where we weren't. Anyway, so I, like the good podcaster I am for this 30% podcast, was listening to some music, and I bumped into Beezy, Where You Been, by Cap and Albeezy. And it actually spawned a few questions in me. One, and I don't want this to turn into a glaze session, but I do think Cap is a very, very, very talented individual. Because there's not so many times that you see producers who can also express themselves in different art forms. There's times that you see that, but so it's not something like completely unique. But being able to like direct the video, and it's actually a very compelling video, and then also produce music at that level, it's something to be commended. But that wasn't even the conversation I wanted to have, because I realized our industry, Sam, and this is like dumbing it down completely. If we're dumbing down our industry completely, it's divided into two, right? It's divided into people who make music that is highly inspired from international media, right? It's going to include international themes, soundscapes, ideas, and kind of replicate what's already going on outside. And then the second tier of artists will be artists who make authentically Kenyan music on Kenyan sounds, using Kenyan instruments, etc. Now, the question that I wanted to bring to the podcast is, or rather, I could word it by saying, our podcast is built on seeing Kenyan music thrive, correct? That's just kind of like the foundational building blocks of the 30% podcast. And we have to acknowledge that our industry has these two tiers of artists, right? Artists like Albeezy, who are gonna like make trap stuff that sounds like it could have been written by or for a Ghana or something like that. Or our industry is going to have like a Costa Ojwang, where it's so authentically Kenyan. It's, you know what I mean? And or like a Kasiva Mutua, and it just feels so Kenyan. But we're all Kenyans and we all want to win. So here's the question. How do we make these two types of artists successful and thrive? Because, and here's the thing, I was watching the video and I was like, why isn't Albeezy popping like in different like markets? Like, why aren't other people in Africa like tapped into this scene? Because it's cool. It's cool. And that's a bit frustrating because, like, I don't know if I talked about this on the podcast. I saw these kids from South Africa, like Kindly Nash, and he's making music, or like Blackie. Like, they're making music that sounds like it could be popping off in America. And then somehow it always finds its way to me. And I'm like, wait, how come their music finds its way to me, but our music doesn't find its way to them? And I'm specifically talking about the artists who are making music that sounds international leaning. I think marketing like international, or marketing music internationally, like Costa Ojwang's, is actually slightly easier because it's different. And I think that's good because it's authentic. And like, people outside will be like, wait, I've never heard anything like this. This is so amazing. But how do these other artists win? What does it boil down to? That's a very long-winded question, Sam. I hope there's a way to answer that.
There's a question in there somewhere.
There's a question in there somewhere.
I think there's many layers. First off, let's start at where you started. Number one, I think one of the reasons why we don't see a lot of that kind of thing, where you have like producers, or you have a multidisciplinary artist, is because I think a lot of people feel like because you do one thing and maybe you do it really well, that's the only thing you could possibly do. And so we have many. I don't know many creatives who are just creatives in one direction only. Like, your creativity ends up bleeding into different areas. So I just think it takes guts. I think a lot of creatives need to have more guts and try new things, and learn that they'll be good at it. Now, to get into the other part of the conversation, or the main part of the conversation, marketing is obviously a big thing. Maybe later on, we could figure out how exactly we could go about it. But then I think marketing is a big thing. We do live in a Nairobi being a melting point, and I think that's one of the things that people say about that they really like about Nairobi, is that Nairobi has a lot of different cultures, and that bleeds into the music. And so we have, like you said, we have like the more traditional African sounding music that you would expect to come from this region. And then you have the people who are from this region as well, but then trying to make music outside. Both of them can succeed if done accurately, if done well. Accurate is the wrong word. If done well. But like you said, now it depends on how to go about pushing it. I do feel as though making music for the outside world while attempting to sound like the outside world. When I say the outside world, I mean outside of our music economy here. Making that kind of that style of music, it's a harder sell. And the bar is just really high. I think we've had that conversation before. The bar is just really high. And so now that's the question now. Since you've thought about how have you seen that kind of music, especially, and I'm talking specifically like the Albeezys and the ones who make music that sounds like it could be from the West. How have you seen it being marketed, and how do you think that generally these artists could market their music better? Because marketing our own music that's like traditional, you have the traditional languages on them, you have the traditional music elements, the rhythms, that's people are feeling for that outside. Like they want the motherland. This is the music of the motherland. So how have you seen the marketing being done, and then how do you think, or rather, what can be done to elevate?
And that's a great question, because does it lie in the visuals? Because I look at the visuals for Beezy Where You Been, and I'm like, bro, this shit is really, really, really good. Like, I like the concept. But then you look at like the first ever song that blew up for this artist called Kindly Nash, called Don't Bry Me. And I talked about this in the podcast when it came out. It's not even complicated, and it's just one continuous shot done on an iPhone. Right? So it's not even about the quality of the video. That's the reason why it like ended up really blowing up. It's more about and I think the marketing, and I think that's what it really boils down to for us. It's like, how can we uniquely market our music to make it penetrate in different markets? Because other countries do the same thing. So there's this whole stereotype where people are like, no, but Kenyans, bro, we try so hard to sound international, like y'all don't even, you know what I mean? Like you other countries always are authentically themselves, but that's not true, because there's so many artists you can point to who make international sounding stuff and then they pop off. You look at Tyler, for example, like she sounds like she doesn't make South African sounding music per se.
Well, yeah,
right.
But she's been described.
Like,
she's been
really
described to make pop music over make pop style of music over like amapiano, the most popular dumbed down amapiano sound. That's kind of what people have accused her for, and accused is in quotes.
Okay.
But yeah.
So what would you say about like somebody like Nasty C, for example?
Well, yeah. No, Nasty C. Okay, now I would say recently, so Nasty C's most recent albums, he's tried to go back into more like African rhythms. But then the previous projects that he's been dropping was definitely more Western sounding music. Nasty C is the way I really need to look into how he was pushed. Because I think he's also he's existed in a weird space where I think he's gotten, at the beginning rather, he used to get a lot of hate for trying to sound too American. And then he goes to America, and then he doesn't, get as many looks as he possibly can, and he's really good. It's when it comes to the marketing, I just don't know, bro. Like, because I'm like, okay, what specifically within the marketing can be done? Like how do we go, like practically, how do we go about that marketing? And presenting those artists in front of people. Is it the collaborations? Of course, we're talking about video and just the margin of the video and the sound to create like a big idea. How does one go about that?
I mean, like I said, I've seen other artists not do too much in the way of like trying to rewrite the handbook of marketing. Sometimes it's just a silly dance that makes you pop off. Yeah. Like Molly, who made Shake It to the Max, kind of talked about like her whole situation with how that popped off, and it's just by that dance that she did, and doing it at the most not inopportune, but the most random of places.
Yeah.
Right. And one of those videos popped off, and now she's literally everywhere, being dissed by Kina Charlemagne. She's been on a tour in the Americas and the Caribbean for like the past year.
Yeah.
Released a song with Tyler already. Like, just because of that one thing, like she's managed to really cement herself. But Sam, do you think it just boils down to, in order to really stand out, even the artists who are internationally influenced and inspired, do you think at the end there has to be Kenyan influence in that for it to really, really gain any sort of traction?
That's such a philosophical question. I think I think I think authenticity has its place. I think presenting your authentic self, there's pride in that. There's pride in knowing that I'm representing my region well. One big thing about the American market that I guess we don't really see as much in other markets is just the I don't know how you'd say it, but then like the East Coast, the West Coast, and just in terms of how they are very distinct and prideful about their sound and the origins of their sound, and just continuing that narrative of this music is us and it's from this region. I think there's pride in that. So like if an artist is from here, there's pride in rapping about Kenyan themes or rapping in a Kenyan way or visually representing your area in the music. I don't think it's all that, because I wouldn't put an artist in a box and say just because you're from this area you have to rap. I mean, you have to present in this specific way. I think people can end up doing that in ways that just comes up as a little bit too try hard or inauthentic.
Yeah, for sure.
But so it's cool if it's done and in a growing industry, it's definitely very beneficial. We've seen Bien run around with chickens. We've seen artists like Casey, going on international platforms with like the Kenyan
on the
flag.
Radar.
Yeah, on the radar. With the Kenyan flag and stuff, and we've seen that before. That's cool. That's fine. I don't always corner an artist into doing that all the time. Like, okay, you're Kenyan, you have to be Kenyan. You have to show up as Kenyan every single time. But then it's a good thing. It depends on the artist, I think, and what their goals are. I don't know what you think.
No, I agree. It depends on what their goals are, but I feel like most artists' goals would align with being able to make a sustainable living off of their art at the end of the day. Because some artists will be like, no, I don't want the fame, right? Or whatever. But at the end of the day, though, you do want to survive. So I think most art, and for that, you'll have to have an element of success attached to that. So you have to really, at some point, you have to really lock in and decide, what am I doing here? And is it really going to put me in the spaces where I'm going to be able to gain enough traction to make enough money off of this and actually carve out a career out of this? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think the thing that you said is very important, because you don't want to pigeonhole artists into dumbing themselves down and not being inspired by the things that they are. Some artists are really inspired by trap music and this and that and the third. So do that. Do what you need to be inspired by, or what you are inspired by. But I think now the thing is how are we marketing? How aggressively are we putting ourselves out there? Maybe it's that in that way that people can stand out. I think that's maybe the especially if you're making like if you make an R&B song, right? And it just sounds very R&B, whatever. Like, maybe you need to find Kenyan themes surrounding the music. Maybe the music sounds very international and whatever, that's fine. But maybe you need to integrate like some Kenyan themes in the videos, in the visuals. Try and stand out that way. Otherwise, then it just ends up being lost in the noise.
Yeah.
I think.
I mean, listen, I'm a champion of Kenyan music. I'm a champion of, putting ourselves on the map. But I never ever want to force down the culture into the people's throats, like we should leave it up to the artists to be able to do that and represent responsibly, not just in a very, because sometimes it can get very gimmicky and just like you can just tell like, okay, you're doing this for just the optics of it, and you don't really care. And if that's how you go about it, that's how you go about it. It's important to also think about, like, for an artist, like, if you start down a specific road, one thing I think a lot of artists, younger, newer artists, don't do is that they don't think 2 years ahead, 5 years ahead. Like, what happens if the path you've chosen, like, becomes... What happens if like, let's say you decide to go down the whole super Kenyan branding, everything is just completely Kenyan. What happens when you fall out of love with that specific aesthetic? And now you have to switch over, and you haven't really figured out how to do that outside of your current creativity. And so now that creates an artist who is stuck, and that could kill many careers. So it's important to also think about that as you're going. Like, we talk about marketing a lot, but it's also like planning on and figuring out what you're doing and how well it serves you and how long it can serve you for, and whether it ties into the general goals that you're trying to achieve. So yeah, man, we definitely shouldn't pigeonhole artists into, hey, you can only present as Kenyan, or we want to hear ululation in the background, like in every single song, or we want to, like, that doesn't necessarily have to be the case. I think we can create great art, and it could be subtle. Like, it doesn't have to be like a glaring thing. It could be very subtle signs. I think that if that's your goal, that you belong to a specific area, a specific place, and you want to put that on the map.
Yeah, I think the main point is that because Kenyan artists are making this art, it's Kenyan. You know what I mean? So I think for me, that's kind of like the overriding thing. But it is frustrating to see, like, when artists who are so talented aren't getting kind of the recognition, I guess. That's kind of like one of the things that sparred this whole conversation.
Yeah. Sure. It's layers, because they could be getting one part right and the other part, like, completely neglecting it, and that affects the entire picture. So it's artist by artist.
Yes, sir, man.
Basis.
So also, the industry is evolving, as you all know, and it looks like it could be devolving, depending on how you want to look at it. Looks like AI is they're latching onto it as the next frontier, which it's never really like it. I don't know why everybody feels like AI is the next thing, or it's the thing now, and it's the thing that's going to be around for like the foreseeable future. I don't know why. Whenever I think about the music industry, I don't feel like AI is like the thing that we should be focusing on. But then, there's this thing that happens in history or historically, where there's something new that evolves and people are very, very slow on the uptake of it. Am I doing the same mistakes that people in the past have done, where they were like, nah, streaming isn't the thing, I'm still going to be pushing my CDs. And then you see somebody pushing their CDs like in 2015 when you...
Your next project should be all AI artists.
So am I fumbling? Am I fumbling the bag? Like in 20 years from now, will I say, damn, if only AFAM of the past like really embraced AI early, then we would have been swimming in money. Like, am I part of the problem right now? Like,
I think you're definitely. Listen, this past week, one thing I've seen a lot is like I've seen a bunch of innovations. Toyota came out with like a robot that you can sit on it and it takes you up the stairs. I've seen so many robots around. I'm very excited that we're moving into the robotic age, and AI sort of is part of that in terms of like intelligence. The only area that I am not excited that AI is getting into is music. And that's specifically... Like I was saying, like a person today can sit down in front of their laptop and type out prompts and create a song good enough to challenge like actual songs that were created in studios. And that's like the aspect. I don't know, just as an people find it a bit snobbish, but then as a purist, you want your creativity to come from a mind, and a mind that was not created by another mind.
Hey, what if we were created by another mind as well? Let's not become philosophical, but Sam, there's times when I've actually
we live in a simulation. Are we getting into
maybe?
Okay.
Maybe this is the ultimate version of Grand Theft Auto. You know how Grand Theft Auto has become, like, every time it comes out, it's realer and realer. Maybe right now we are in GTA 25 of like some other civilization. Think about it. Anyway, you think about it. I saw there was a report at a Sijui complex was saying that there was a meteorite that they found like samples of human DNA, and it was like 2 billion years old or something like that. And they're like, wait, does this support the theory that human beings could have come from like somewhere else? I love such
just that one thing.
But it might be.
Listen, we know when guys are doing things for clicks. We know guys. Listen, we know guys when guys are doing things for clicks.
Hey, who's to say?
It's lists. You have to do all kind of things these days. All kinds. It's not the regular. What do you call it? The regular. You have to do a bunch of things. You have to put out lists. You have to say that there's human beings who lived billions of years ago. Listen, we need to get back to real journalism. But that's a side point.
Real journalism. You look at you asking about real journalism when AI exists. Bro, the biggest debate going on the internet right now is whether there's this guy who's taking videos in North Korea, whether it's real or AI. But it's so worrying because you don't know what to believe in anymore. Like, it's just like... even me personally, I'd be seeing videos and I'm like, I don't know if this is real or AI anymore. It's scary. And I always used to think, I used to think like the people who get got by these things are like old people, like because you all just are detached.
Nah,
bro.
No, we are in there now.
I've been caught by there was this one video.
Everybody.
There's this one video that was trending on TikTok of like some lady, she's asleep, and then her cats come and jump on her like at 3 a.m. and she shouts at them or something like that. It just looks like such a very normal video. And I was like, wow, like why would you let your cats like be playing in your face like that? That video was AI. I couldn't believe it, bro. I was like, I made believe that thing was real. I thought that was just like one of those real, like, oh my goodness. Anyway,
where it will get really annoying is if like when you're just playing music and the next song that comes is an AI song and you have no idea.
And you have no idea. Bro.
And it's prompts.
I listened to on TikTok there's a guy who does this thing where he reimagines like songs as different genres, and he was reimagining Korn. Like, there's a metal band called Korn, and they have a song called Freak on a Leash, and he reimagined it as like a R&B ballad, and it sounded so good. I was like, this is amazing. And I had such conflicting feelings within myself because I want to hate AI especially when it comes to music, but I was like, wait, I actually kind of like this. But I think the reason why I even bring up this whole thing is Lucian Grange. And listen, when Lucian Grange speaks, 10 out of 10 times it's where the industry is going. And he was kind of just giving like insight into what UMG are doing, and AI was a big part of it. They settled with Udio. I believe Sam came and broke that news here on the podcast a while ago about Udio and Suno and the big three suing them for using the major labels' music to train their AI models. Yeah, and that was obviously a breach. But looks like Universal have settled with Udio. I don't think Sony and Warner have, but Universal have. And it looks like they're working on an AI platform to be rolled out in 2026. And
yuck.
I know, man. Lucian is saying we secured key protections in the agreement on AI, which is a critical achievement in promoting interests of our artists on their platforms. I don't know how much the artists in UMG are supportive of this decision, but let's just say they are. But he also says, and this is the thing that's very, very interesting to me, Sam, and the
You're
reason
just
why I
going to
wanted
say
to
they
talk
are.
about it.
You're just going to say everyone is on board.
Of course. But Sam, this is the question or the thing that really, gave me alarm bells. And it was, he says, I have exactly the same feeling about this progress that I did 15 to 16 years ago when we were looking at what was the transaction business and the really early fledgling, what was perceived at the time of the disruption of the album into something called ad-funded streaming. Grange revealed. Essentially, he's kind of making a parallel to this whole AI thing, to when streaming really began to like pick up. And so I guess that's where we are, Sam. I think because the industry has been really, really scrambling for the next thing. The industry hasn't been as profitable as it used to be.
Yeah.
And it looks like this is the place. This is where we are. So how does this affect us, and how does this change how we create, consume, and monetize our music?
What happened? Okay, we just look at the receipts. Okay, what happened when labels moved from selling physical copies to streaming? Who lost? The labels gained. They got their money. But who lost in that situation? The artists. Let's look at them shifting or rather embracing AI on a larger scale. Who is going to suffer? Because AI is going to take up a lot of the spots that artists currently take up. Who is going to suffer? It's the artists that are going to suffer. It seems that all these innovations that are happening benefit the fringe. Is it a fringe? Benefit a small section of people and the labels themselves that are embracing these techniques, and the artists that are sitting down creating music, creating art, whatever style of art it is, are the ones that are going to suffer. So every time you look at that, it's a very sad thing to see. But unfortunately, you have to embrace it. Like, as much as everyone complained about streaming, you still see music out on Spotify and Apple Music now. So there's really nothing you can do about it. Unless you want to really go rogue. And you could do that, honestly. But yeah, man, I just feel like with all these innovations, the artists suffer. And how do we go about that, right? I mean, I guess because the label is really just trying to like squeeze as much as they can from every single aspect. Like they want to get every last drop, and so it's up to the artists to figure out how to be in control of their own creativity, be in control of their own product, and we say it a lot, leverage, right? Figure out how to leverage, because once AI comes, bro, like once the robots start coming, yo fam, we're done. It's over. There'll be new creatives now. The new creatives are the guys who can craft a really good prompt. That will be the new creative. Can you imagine? That's the kind of person you're fighting with?
I think, Sam, what's going to happen is people are going to be desperate to experience the real. Actually, that's it. To experience the real. And I think that's going to actually inform what I'm going to say next. If you're listening to this podcast, I think what you should prioritize is being highly skilled and highly optimized at your craft, because that's going to come in it's going to be beneficial for you in the future, because once AI comes, like there's going to be a wave of everybody making AI content. It's already happening. But then I think there's, how things are always cyclical, like in just on Earth. Like things come in and out of fashion. There's going to be a time when people are going to really crave to just like experience something real that's untouched by AI. And that's where you come in with your humanness, and you start and you make like real thing. And I think those people will really like, there'll be a point where everybody's so hyper dependent on AI that people who aren't like might stand out. I think that could happen. I don't know if that'll happen in our lifetime though. If that might happen like further along, but like I think so. Or maybe that's just me holding on to.
That also sounds very post-apocalyptic. It just sounds like very sci-fi worthy. That sounds like a sci-fi worthy plot.
But that's where we're headed.
Oh, there's just a small group of real musicians in a corner somewhere, and the government is trying to get to them. Yeah. That's how it's going to be. The AI, and I'm getting tired of saying those two letters together now. Like, we need other letters to put together. But the AI wave is crashing down on everybody. You either get some cover or you leave the city. There's two ways. I don't know what you're going to do. I mean, you can't really help yourself. But yeah, man, shout out to all the software developers out there, because AI is also their art.
I don't know if I want to shout them out as much, but I guess it is what it is.
Anyway, it is what it is. Let's get into some new music. A couple of releases this week, honestly. I'll just go ahead and start. I went first of all to Kenyans in the diaspora. I went to Casey's project. He dropped a project called Mixtape V1. 16 songs. I liked a couple of joints on there. I also listened to Matata's Mpishi, which has a collection of many songs we had, and then a couple of newer ones, which I actually enjoyed. I enjoyed the joint with Sabara, Costa Ojwang as well. Sophie Nzao was on a remix. Interested in seeing how they transition from this sort of age, because I feel like they've been on this Mpishi wave for a minute. Not to say that it should die, but then sort of how they move forward into like a different idea. If they want to stay here too, it's cool. Shout out to Matata. What else did I listen to? Chuma was part of two songs. Chuma is another Afro house vocalist, and he was on Didact. Fakey, the song is called Fakey, and then he was also with Kapala with a song called Jaribu. And then Fadhili also doing his, part of that whole Afro house vocalist, released Calypso with Louis Bongo. Shout out to him. I also enjoyed Zalali's song called Ember. I don't know what happened with the song though. I think it might be like a mixing issue, but then it feels a little bit off. I think it's a really good song, and she singing on there was very good as well. But then I just feel like the way they presented the mixing was a bit difficult to listen to. But shout out to her though. Hopefully she can, if that can be something that could be like fixed, then, or if that was the intention, then hey, my bad. Shout out to you. That might be. Let me see if there's something else that I really paid attention to. No, that was it. That was it for me.
Okay.
I need to lock in a bit more.
You need to lock in a little bit more, man. That's rich.
You're the one telling me I need to lock in a bit more. Look at you.
I listened to Mastingo by Saru and Bensoul. I'm sorry, but there's only one Mastingo song that's going to be in my heart forever.
Yeah, you can't name your song Mastingo.
You can't. There's only one song called Mastingo that's on my playlist. That Jazzy is retired forever. Then I listened to Massage. Did you talk about Massage by Savara?
No, I did not.
Yeah, that was bro was just having fun. Then there was Adios Bye Bye by Tuku Kantu. Shout out to him. We didn't mention this, but I think it came on we might have been recording when this song came out. But Ukinicheki by Lil Minor. It also has a music video. Bro, that guy is really he's really bringing back the feeling, and he's actually sounding like an artist on these songs. It's really good to hear. So shout out to Lil Minor. Listen to Manjege by X-Ray and Collie. As I mentioned earlier, I listened to Beezy Where You Been, produced by Cap. Let's see. I listened to Bebwa by Kapi, who, by the way, had an unfortunate accident, but it looks like they're all okay, so shout out to them. Then I listened to Kuti Lion and
Biggie. Thoughts and prayers.
Yeah, and then I listened to Kuti Lion and Big Yasa on a song called On Heat. That was very random, but interesting. Okay. And then I watched the video to Gaggle by Jofes, Furthermore, and Vic West. So shout out to them. Sam, so do you want to let the people know what the song pick of the week is going to be?
Pick of the week. Yes, we are going to go to our lovely brothers over down there in Matata land. Shout out to Matata, man. Shout out to Matata. Shout out just the recent push that they've been on couple of years. And just creating, and we see the videos, and they popped into this. I don't even remember. They popped into the scene with the whole video angle and doing really cool videos. So they just keeping that going, then integrating more into the Kenyan scene, which we love to see. So for the pick of the week, we are going to go to Matata. They linked up with Costa Ojwang, produced by Wuod Omollo. I think the entire project, if I'm not wrong, was produced by Wuod Omollo. The song that we will be playing is Pararira. So here you go.
Chalorewa na wenye siri utajiri msinipite, ina manye mudo wana konsoni da chalorewa. Opera kiriringa ingena duda polo duda opera kiriringa ingena duda polo duda. I give you what you deserve. I'm ready. My penzi tamu shida. My money. I'll give you what you deserve. My baby. Sitaki pararira. I heard it. She knows everything I do is B.I.G. She knows before I kill her, she D.I.E. They know they can reach me when I'm D&D. Napata pesa bado onge, napata pesa watu going down in my bed. If I go down on you, I'll get you wet. I'll give you what you deserve. I'm ready. My penzi tamu shida. My money. I'll give you what you deserve. My baby. Sitaki pararira. I heard it. I me see as a Rudy mystery. Your story is a baggy mystery, no. Don't just sing money, no money is just sing me. Them pretty girls steady on my case. Bam bam biggie bouncing on my face. Stuck in temptations in a taste. Money over matter, matata na costa, costa. Hey, what you deserve, I'm ready. Mapenzi tamu shida, my money. I'll give you what you deserve, my baby. Sitaki Pararira, aheri.
That was Matata and Ojwang with Pararira, again produced by Wuod Omollo. Shout out to Matata for releasing. Shout out to Ojwang too for putting the pressure. And just releasing. Being more visible and more present. I do think is very unique. And yeah, just want to hear more of him. Hear more of his creativity, more of his heart. So shout out to him. And that's that.
Yeah, man.
That is that.
As you guys know, we started this podcast because we want to see Kenyan artists played more and paid more. If you're new here, I usually like to end the podcast with the 3 C's, which is a mantra that I devised for myself because I'm trying to be a good artist and I fall short many times, but I try. Number 1 is confidence. Try to be confident all the time. Not try, be confident all the time. Your confidence will shine through your work, and that's what's going to make people gravitate to your work. Number 2, consistency. I keep on saying this. Consistency is better than talent. Every single time faced with the option, I pick consistency over talent. That's what's going to set you apart. Number 3, craft. Always work on your craft. Every day, dedicate 5 minutes, 10 minutes, half an hour to getting better at your chosen craft. And trust me, it's going to add up. Sam, I have a pet peeve that usually annoys me is when people are not cohesive with their numbering systems. Like someone would be like, I have 5 examples. A, they list something, then they're like 2, and they list something, then they're like C. Have you ever seen that?
I was like, all right, my guy.
Sam,
like,
that's
what's going
one
on
thing that makes me. It boils my blood. It boils my blood to my core.
That's crazy. Sorry.
But yeah, man. Is there anything else you want to tell the people?
I don't have anything else to say.
We'll catch you guys on episode 156.